Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Michael Shear, your second favorite stock options trader, and we are on part four, three, whatever. Today, we're actually going to be talking about Greeks. So, this is the fourth part of our options foundation. And so, I'm going to start up this video over here so I can kind of let you guys see it over there. And this is going to be Thinkorswim. And what I did is I pulled it up where we can see the different Greeks of our options strikes. So what is the Greeks of options? So with the Greeks of options, there's four main ones. There's Delta, Theta, Vega, Gamma, and then the fifth one is like a stepchild, Rho, which nobody really uses, but it is there, and I'll talk about that at a later time. So our two main ones that I started out with, the Delta and Theta, those are the two main ones that we typically use for options trading, and a lot of us will relate to or refer to when talking about options, and especially when we're looking into multiple legged options and what are the profitability of return, things of that nature. So we're just going to keep it simple in the foundations of options today, and we're just going to go through those and explaining what each one is. So we'll start here with our delta. So that's going to be the furthest one on the left side here of our calls and puts. And what delta is all it is just the direction. So that's a nice way of putting it. So D direction, D delta, that's how you remember them. Delta refers to the direction. And then how much do we get for every dollar move in the stock itself? How much value is there in the delta? Delta itself also, the lowest it can possibly be is 0. The highest it can possibly be is 1. 1 meaning that it moves 1 for 1 with the stock, 0 meaning that it moves 0 for 0 with the stock. Also, with that as well, the delta is also your probability of being in the money at expiration. We'll kind of go more into that, We'll go more into that as we talk about strategies, things of that nature. But most important, your delta is your value of the option per $1 move in the stock price. In that it only goes up to 1, and the lowest it can be is 0, which you probably will never find until at expiration. Now, next is Theta. Theta is a big one that we talk about constantly in the Discord, and it's one of probably the first things that you will actually learn if you were to just jump right into it. Not as many people talk about Delta because it's so implied. But Theta we talk about so much because of the decay it has, the theoretical loss of value as each day goes along in our options trading. So Theta is going to be the second column you see over here on the left of as far as puts and calls. And let's say we're looking here at the money. So we got this 133 strike, call or put. And each one of these on the call and put side, we show a point or a negative 0.14. So that means if you own this 133 strike call on Apple, you are going to be losing 14 cents, or we know as terms of this in hundreds. So if we move the decimal point over 2, we're losing $14 per day that we hold on to this contract. Theta, time decay. So there we go. There's another nice little way of remembering what Theta does. It's T for time, T for Theta. Next is Vega. Again, these are going to be, now we're getting to the less important ones, but it is very important when it, in the long term of things. A lot of times when you're trading shorter term options, you don't really have to worry about these as much, but it's something good to note as we're going along. So Vega is your volatility. Vega, volatility. Vega is saying how much does the price change on our option per 1% move of volatility. Volatility in essence is for a whole nother video, and will probably take at least 5 to 10 minutes just to explain volatility itself. But just for the sake of getting through this video and understanding Vega, it's just volatility and the price change of the option per 1% of volatility change. Next is Gamma. Gamma is just the amount of delta change per dollar move. So if our delta is at a 50 delta, if it goes up $1, in this case we see 4 cents. If it goes up $1, we see a 4-cent change in our delta, or 0.04 change in our delta. So as you see here, the 133, if we went up $1 in price, we see that the next delta up on the next strike, $1 up, is 54. And so we can see that actual change relative to the strikes. And lastly on here, I don't have it actually in these columns here, but is row. Row is something I would say is mostly for our longer leap plays, because row in essence is just the amount of change on the option price per interest rate change. So if the Fed changes interest rate, goes up 0.25, then row plays a place in that. In essence, that's one of those ones that unless you're trading options 2 to 3 years out, it's not gonna have a significant impact on your options trading, especially the way that most options traders do, which is somewhere between 1 month out to a year out. Typically, options traders don't trade too much further out. There are some that do, but as for keeping it very simple and easy, row is something that you almost will never use unless you, again, you're trading options really, really far out. And at that point, that may take into account whenever you're looking at the Greeks and into your strategy for yourself. So let's wrap that back up and kind of go really quickly back through everything that I talked about. So our main 5, Greeks, delta, theta, Vega, gamma, rho. What is delta? D delta, direction. So we have direction, how much that the price moves per dollar movement of the stock. Theta is our time, T time, T theta, that is how much do we lose on this option contract per day that we hold it. Vega is just, again, is our volatility, V Vega, V volatility. It's just the movement of the option price per 1% move in volatility. Gamma, G, this doesn't have one of those cool acronyms that we can do. G, gamma, it's just the exponential move of delta. So per dollar move, our delta changes by this gamma. And then rho, again, doesn't have a really cool acronym to use. Rho is just the price movement of the option per interest rate change. And that's it, guys. A lot of times we like to think of Greeks as this really, really hard thing to do. But honestly, they just are a simple mathematical usage in our options trading. Don't think of it as any harder than it is, because they are just what they are. They don't move or change, they just are what they are. The only time that you are going to be worried about each of these different types of Greeks is whenever you start implementing them into your trading strategy. So that, again, is for another time, and I hope that you guys enjoyed. But this is the Greeks of options in our Options Foundation course that we are in right now. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you next video when we talk about buying versus selling, or debit versus credit, in our Options Foundations. See you next time.